But you can't be doing that. You can't stop people having sex.
Just let them bang! Let them bang! Let them bang!
Yeah, exactly. Come on, guys.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to the Fixture List. Oh, we're rolling through here now in summer.
Yeah.
Summer's properly. What is it as well, by the way?
Look at you. You've caught the sun.
I've got boob sweat and everything. That's unreal. It's so hot. How are you?
Good. Got some sweat as well. Maybe less boob sweat than you, but certainly a lot of sweat.
Loads of sweat, yeah. Did you enjoy Saturday? I saw you played against Manchester United, didn't you?
We played Manchester United.
How was that feel?
Good. I didn't play.
Didn't you?
No, I watched them.
Oh, okay.
Certainly watched.
So Stretford Paddock staff, which is obviously all the presenters and stuff, played against it was Manchester United.
It was Manchester United for the purposes of that tournament. I think I don't know if they worked in Man United, whether they weren't any United players, I can tell you that much, but they had United kits on.
Manchester United.
Exactly.
Ronaldo goes, hey, they were pretty good and all.
Yeah. We lost to him, so they must have been all right.
Didn't they eventually win it as well?
I think they did.
Hey, we love these little six-a-side tournaments. Any little six-a-side tournament you want us to we'll turn up at the opening of anything. So let us know, and we're there for you. We'll come and play a bit of soccer for you. Right, that obviously being aside, there's some other tournaments that are of interest across the summer, one being the Olympics. We'll talk about that in a second. But before we get into that, United are actually still in the hunt for Raphael Varane.
We keep hearing more and more and more, don't we?
It's this thing like, personal terms are agreed. Well, how? Technically, you're not supposed to talk to the guy until you've sorted out with the club what's happening, but United are just like, don't worry about that. Yeah. It's all good.
We spoke to his brother, who spoke to his agent, who spoke to him, and it's fine, and that's legal somehow. It's ticking away. I don't know how optimistic to get for this. I just feel like we've been hurt too many times.
We have been hurt too many times.
It does seem plausible. Everything's in the right place, and as I've said before, Real Madrid aren't the team they were. They aren't as appealing to stay at as they once were. They don't have quite the amount of money they used to have. You know, back when we had this sort of Ramos thing, they had Ronaldo, they had Modric, they had such a good team, and everyone was 5 years younger.
They were also on the cusp of winning 4 out of 5 Champions Leagues.
Exactly. They were comfortably the best team in Europe, or certainly in Europe.
You wouldn't be putting that sort of bet on now, would you? From now,
exactly.
Madrid are going to win 4 of the next 5.
Yeah.
You've been like,
they're an aging team.
Really.
Some of the youngsters that they've brought in to replace those aging players haven't quite stepped up. Now is the time to leave Real Madrid if you are Raphael Varane, and it looks as though we're going to be there to capitalise on it.
It's not done yet, obviously, but it seems like it's spooling up nicely. Now, I think it's time to talk to Mo Squawka, and I want to know, because Mo, I heard something that someone said on TalkSport. Was it Danny Mills? What's he saying?
You know, sometimes people say things and, you have to respect everyone's opinion, right? That's what you teach your kids when you grow up. Respect everyone's opinion. But sometimes, as adults, we can admit that some people's opinions you just should point and laugh at. Danny Mills, it's amazing, honestly. He said, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but he said, Varane's a good signing, but is he the right signing? Why a fast centre-half with great experience to compliment Harry Kane is not the right signing? I don't know, but he says, we don't know how Varane will be in the Premier League. That's true. We don't know how Varane will be in the Premier League. No one knows because anything could happen. But this is the best bit. Danny Mills said, he's used to playing 80-ish tough games in La Liga alongside Sergio Ramos. See, now that right there tells me Danny Mills has watched maybe 1 or 2 games in La Liga over the last maybe 10 years. There's way more than 8 tough games in Spanish top flight football. It's one of the hardest leagues in the world. It's got literally the highest ceiling. Yeah, okay, the median talent level is probably not the same as it is in the Premier League, for instance, where there's more money, more talent even spread out. But the top level is much, much higher than the Premier League. For years, Varane. This is the thing. Varane is not new. Varane has not been at Real Madrid for just 3-4 years. Varane's been there since like 2011. He's a veteran of the Mourinho era, of the highest of high level of Clásicos. Barca, Real Madrid duking it out at the top of the league. 100 back-to-back 100-point seasons, one from Real Madrid, one from Barcelona. Varane was in the team for that. This is serious, man. This is a serious team. And a serious player that's played in serious teams, in serious competitions. It's a joke to question him. It's a joke to question that will he not be a fit for Man United. Now, will he be a resounding, massive, amazing success? We don't know, obviously. But if United can get over the line, obviously, nothing's guaranteed yet. But if United can get it over the line, it seems to be on paper to be a huge signing. Probably as big, if not maybe bigger than Sancho, because what Varane is what he represents is, as you guys said, he's a world-class superstar. Like, he's literally won 4 Champions Leagues, 3 titles, 4 Champions Leagues. He won a World Cup. You know, a little thing called the World Cup. You guys heard of that? He won the World Cup when he was at Real Madrid. Was a huge part of France winning the World Cup. Just like in '98, everyone goes on about the forwards, but it was Varane and Umtiti at the back that was so solid that let France win that World Cup. They shut down Belgium, who were arguably the most dynamic attacking side in that tournament. Shut down Belgium, won the tournament. Brilliant performance from those guys, right? This guy is unquestionable class. Yeah, he's had a dodgy season, or a disappointing season, let's say, by his standards last year. And everyone remembers from 2 years ago the mistake against Man City where he looked a bit out of sorts. But name me a great player who's played his hundreds of games at the top level at Varane is, and you'll find mistakes. You'll find mistakes everywhere because no defender is
Virgil
scored.
van Dijk on his ass.
Yeah.
Let's not have it like every defender is completely infallible. No. Also, Van Dijk came from Celtic and Groningen, right? Where did Vincent Kompany come from? Wasn't it like Anderlecht, right? Where's Ruben Dias, who's took the league by storm this season? How many hard games was he having last year in League NOS?
It's always the case with centre-backs. The same with Vidic. You know, the same with...
Where's he come from? Spartak Moscow.
Yeah.
What the fuck's he going to do?
Exactly. It's not, you know, and if you're looking at the pedigree of the centre-backs brought into the Premier League in the last 5 years, I mean, no, let's not say last 5 years. Ever, no one has had a better pedigree come into the Premier League than Varane has.
Marcel Desailly and Laurent Blanc might argue.
Okay, but comparable, but not better. They'd won 4 Champions Leagues. It's, you know, maybe equivalent, but not better than him. You know what I mean? Though it's as good a CV as anyone has ever had come into the Premier League, certainly as a centre-back.
The thing about Desailly and Blanc as well to mention is they were kind of washed up when they arrived in England. They came here for a payday, or Blanc was also a degree of like he just respected Ferguson or something. I don't know. But yeah, those guys were not coming in I mean, Varane is 29. He's younger than Van Dijk. He's younger than Van Dijk. He was absolutely devastating in Clásicos as a teenager. He's been brilliant for so long at such a high level. And I mean, you know, the Ramos job is what really gets me. He's playing alongside Sergio Ramos. He made Ramos, he's a better defender than Ramos is. He's a better defender. He's not a better leader. He's not a better footballer. He's not a better presence, a better big game dominator. None of that stuff. Ramos is the king of that stuff. But as an actual just defender, bare bones defending work, positional defending, recovery defending, holding the line, winning aerial duels, dealing with crosses, he's better than Ramos. He is. If you've ever watched Real Madrid, he looks the better defender. But in the big moments, Ramos steps up, and he's such a big game presence, and he gets.
Ramos is the highlights guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Ramos is the really exciting
Ramos is
guy.
sensational. But Ramos is sort of like, you know how Harry Maguire is at the World Cup and is at Euros, is at tournaments, right? Where he's like this big presence threat. That's kind of like Ramos. Ramos is that all the time. But there's mistakes as well with Ramos, right? Varane is just steady, like 7, 8 out of 10 every game. He's like Van Dijk, right? He is the right-sided Van Dijk. For years he has been that sort of presence. He's not like going to do anything flashy. Like, I bet you if he does settle and play well, I guarantee you Maguire ends up looking like more of a player this season than Varane. Everyone will be like, oh, well, Maguire's having a great season. He's motivated by Varane. If Maguire thrives this season, which I think he will next to Varane, it's because Varane is so steady. Kind of the way Rio let Vidic suddenly just be this colossus, right? Everyone's like, oh, Vidic made Rio. No. Rio was just so good at everything and so steady and had everything locked down and was such a good recovery defender, all this stuff, read the game so well. Vidic could just go, all right, where's the ball? Let me head it. You know, and it's that sort of thing. Maguire's going to, if you know, I can get him and he settles in. That's the other important thing that no one ever really mentions is he's never played in England, never lived in England. Can he settle in quickly? If he does, United are laughing. United are absolutely laughing. That's a fantastic signing. The signing of the summer for me. I mean, obviously, if City get Harry Kane, that's a big difference. You know, if they can pull off that signing, that's a huge thing. And if Liverpool can get someone in midfield, like if they actually manage to hijack the Saul deal from Barcelona, because they seem to be screwing that one up, that could be a big deal. But as of this sign, as good as Sancho is, and I love Sancho, he's amazing. As good as Sancho is, this is the signing of the summer because it's a leader at the back in a position where United have needed a leader, and even with Maguire in there, United have needed a solid, steady, world-class presence because United don't have a midfield. Right, and by the looks of things, who United are targeting in midfield, United aren't going to get a midfield anytime soon in terms of the holder they want. Rice seems to me to be going further and further away, more closer to Chelsea, or staying at West Ham even. I don't know, but when United's midfield is as kind of inconsistent as it's going to be, they need great forwards and they need a great defence. And they've assembled yet another great forward to add to their already great forwards. And if Varane comes in, I've said it before, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Maguire, Short, that's a great defence. So
it's almost like Solskjaer actually knew what he was doing here, isn't it? Because he's slowly been putting the go. And can I have this? I meant to say this as well. Let's not pretend playing alongside Ramos is easy, because he is wild, right? Half the time you're going to be playing with 10 men because of him. Half the time you've got to vacate or go and cover where he's vacated because he's just decided to go and lever someone 30 metres away. Yeah. Like, I love Sergio Ramos and I love what he brings to a team, and the confidence that you must play alongside him must be immense. But he's a pain in the arse. He's going to be a nightmare to have in your team. But he's one of those that's worth it, isn't it?
That's exactly it. And Varane spent almost a decade covering for him. And he's learned from Pepe as well. Let's not forget that. Pepe, massively underrated as a footballer because, he's just has his propensity for violence is just so big. As a footballer, as a defender, he's amazing. There's not been a single player in the history of football that's defended Lionel Messi 1v1 as well as Pepe did. No one. It's honestly, he's astounding. And he's been teaching Varane. He's been teaching Varane. Varane learned from him. Varane learned from Ramos. Varane learned from Zidane, right? And this is the big. And this is why I think you mentioned Ramos is not the place to be. This is the major reason I think why Varane is leaving. Obviously, there's a degree if he wants a new contract, wants a big wages, and he unlike Ramos, he's in his prime, so he can command a big contract. And Real Madrid are trying to be fiscally responsible. They've got to save their money. They're going to try for Mbappe next year, and COVID really hit Madrid hard. They hit Madrid and Barcelona quite hard. And also the element of Varane has been there a decade. He's been there 10 years. He's done literally everything in football. But does he actually want? Maybe he actually does want a new challenge. You wouldn't begrudge him if he did. And then Zidane is gone. And Zidane is huge for any player at Real Madrid, especially the French players. And he's not there anymore. So United is shaping up pretty nicely. I mean, if they can get these transfers over the line, it's just a matter of who else is going to oppose them. And, how other teams are going to be affected by the Olympics. That's going to be interesting to see as well.
Yeah, because I think Eric Bay's going, isn't it?
Yeah,
and Diallo.
And Diallo both are, yeah.
All right, interesting. Mo, are you guys covering the Olympics over at Squawka?
Yeah, we'll be doing some coverage of the Olympics, not as extensively as the Euros and the Copa America, because there's club football is back, so it's running alongside. But we'll be covering them. We'll be looking at the Olympics. We've got an article up on now about the 10 most exciting, 10 best players or 10 most interesting players, men's players at the Olympics. We've got another one coming up in a couple of days. 10 most interesting women's players at the Olympics. But just off the top of my head, look out for Fran Kirby in England and not England, Team GB. She's been sensational for Chelsea this year. Took them to the Champions League final. Unfortunately, couldn't take them over there, but they won. The league. They're really, really good side. And Fran Kirby's amazing.
We actually got a Team GB.
Yeah, Fran
Women
Kirby.
only though.
The women have Team GB. The men don't have a Team GB. The men's Team GB was, I think, only sort of a very sort of loose coalition. Granted, because it was the Olympics was in the UK. The women have got together a Team GB because the women aren't as burdened by ego and nonsense. But obviously the favourites for the women's event are the USA because they've got all the big guns out there. Carly Lloyd is there, Lindsay Horan is there, Alex Morgan is there, Megan Rapinoe, the legend, is there, and of course ex-Man United, I guess now Christian Press and Tobin Heath are there. So there's a lot of talent. It's hard to look past the USA, as it always is. But don't rule out Japan, don't rule out UK. Let's see. But with the men's side, I mean, it's hard to really say, to be honest, with the men because you just don't know. Spain are obviously going to take Pedri. That's going to be great. They've got a pretty decent squad, to be honest. Brazil are going to have Dani Alves and Richarlison there. So, I mean, Dani Alves is one of the most decorated footballers, and I think the most decorated footballer of all time. Brazil won the last one. They won it in 2016. So could they go back to back? I mean, there's no Neymar this time, so that's going to hurt them. But Dani Alves is pure class. He'll probably play midfield, to be honest, and just dominate. Richarlison he played well at the Copa America, so he could have a more focal role here. Could do very well. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to watch.
Right, Mo, where can everyone check out everything that we need for all the football all summer then, club and Olympics?
Well, squawker.com, Squawker on Twitter, Squawker Football on Facebook, Mohammed Butt on Twitter, all the good places. You know where we are.
Go check it out. In fact, what is Squawker? Because I know people go, I don't even know what Squawker is. I know what it is. What is it?
Well, it's a football publisher. We focus on football. We provide detailed analysis, stats analysis. We try to look beyond the score. Actually, look at the statistical analysis, the patterns, the tactics, the ideas behind football. We try to go a bit deeper. And if the name seems a bit weird to you, which admittedly is a bit weird, but think about this: Birds tweet. They also squawk.
Shit name, brilliant website. Go check it out. Link for it is in the description. Cheers as always, Mo.
Thank you.
My pleasure, lads.
Well, at least we're not talking about F1 today.
Well, actually, let me stop you there because we need
come on, man.
We've talked about it, and then something big and exciting happens. We talked about the Monaco Grand Prix. No one even overtook each other. And all of a sudden, something exciting happens.
We knew that would happen.
And we're just going to move on.
Well, what happened?
Carnage yesterday at Silverstone.
Carnage.
Putting the car in carnage.
Oh, I like it. Well,
yeah, thank you. So, not long into the race, you've got Hamilton, you've got Verstappen. Hamilton's trying to come around the inside. Verstappen comes wide, comes across Hamilton. And I'm not the biggest Lewis Hamilton fan ever. In my eyes, he cut across Lewis Hamilton, and his back wheel hit Lewis's front wheel. He went flying off into the tyres, which, correct me if I'm wrong, seem a bit of an antiquated sort of blockage, or like you think by now they'd have like compression packages and stuff where it's like a car can hit him at 500 miles an hour and the driver can stand up straight away.
Like it turns into gel.
Yeah, exactly.
Or foam.
Or just like powder or whatever, like a big airbag.
Yeah, tyres are a bit hard, aren't they?
Yeah, tyres are like what you put round.
If I mush you in the face with a tyre.
Fucking right. Are you going into one of them 150 miles an hour? They've got gravel and then tyres. Like you're at some sort of like chimpanzee enclosure. Like I'm surprised they haven't got something.
Here's what we need.
What?
But might not work if it gets wet.
What?
And that might be the issue. Do you know gymnastics pits?
Yes.
Ball of foam?
Yes.
So you come off the track and you go onto the foam though.
Yeah.
And just sink all the way into it. Yeah.
Perfect.
Like 30 foot deep.
And I'm sure there's no problem with a engine that's about 170 degrees touching foam.
Don't worry about it.
You just get a smoke bomb inside the thing.
Sprinkle it a bit first.
Of course. So he goes into the barrier, he's out, shaken up, big collision. No, I don't think, any lasting damage. He's okay, he's fine. But had to go to hospital, that sort of thing. Hamilton then gets a 10-second penalty, which some people were saying he should have been banned. Some people were saying he didn't deserve it. It's just racing. What are you about?
Rubin's racing, as they said in Days of Thunder.
Yeah, but that seems a bit weird in terms of wanking and that. So you can finish first. But then Hamilton gets a 10-second penalty, and on the third to last lap or fourth last lap or whatever, overtakes, wins the race. Everyone's going mad. Everyone's losing their shit. The crash was ace. Not ace for him, but in terms of a spectacle, carnage, excellent stuff. Hamilton closing the gap. I think he was at 35 points behind, something like that. Gets 25 points for winning.
Do you know what then? If you want to make F1 better, when you've had a crash, you got to fix it yourself. Like Scrap Heap Challenge. Yeah, I want to see that. I want to see people with angle grinders. I want to see someone going, 5 minutes to go. And fucking running around like a lunatic. Come on. And a guy with a fat moustache.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. Let's make it interesting.
Those like goggles with the sort of flying
I still haven't
cap
seen
on.
that. What is it? Drive to Survive? Is it or something like the F1 thing that's on Netflix?
Meant to be really good.
I've heard it's really good.
Yeah.
As I said, there's a real story to it, even though the topic is a bit dry.
Okay,
so
we'll check it out.
We'll check it out.
Check out the highlights for yesterday's Silverstone Grand Prix if you haven't already. But yeah, Lewis Hamilton won it. First time he's won one in ages.
As it always does, July brings lots of UFCs.
Yes.
Brendan's fighting again soon as well.
When's International Fight Week?
Last week.
Missed that one.
That was when Conor was fighting.
Was it?
Typically, if Conor's fighting, it's either New Year's Eve or International Fight Week.
That's the point. Interesting.
So yeah. So Brendan's fighting soon. He's fighting a Dagestani. So I was like, oh, you're going to be looking at the fucking lights a lot.
Are they the only sort of like nationality or sort of region that kind of you say where they're from and you know exactly how they're going to fight? It's almost like a fighting style, isn't it?
Yeah, because if I
region.
said, oh, he's Brazilian, you go, oh, jiu-jitsu. Not necessarily, because you've got your Aldos, you've got your fucking Vita Belforts, you've got your fucking Dos Santos. Like, you've got so many, like, they're just, guess what? It's a fight. That's all you know. If it's a Brazilian that's in there, he's a fight.
Yeah.
You have no idea what style they're going to be. If it was a Thai boxer, or a Thai...
You'd assume kickboxing, but again, you wouldn't necessarily
We've got an MMA fighter from Thailand, you're going to presume, but not to the level and accuracy, where if you make an assumption of a Dagestani fighter, does his fucking ears look like spuds,
and he's going to just grab me and never let go.
Does he have a Russian surname and a Muslim first name? Yeah, you're going to get fucking battered, mate.
Yeah, they're very good, aren't they? It's weird how it's sort of come last 10 years. It's gone from being like no one's heard of this place to being like the hardest people to fight in the world. And they've obviously just been crafting and sculpting away on this perfect, well, what happens to be a perfect discipline for MMA. Even though they're so one-dimensional, it's the best dimension to have, isn't it?
But if you look at the percentages of like undefeated MMA fighters, they're just Dagestanis.
And John Jones.
And John Jones, yeah. So, I mean, it's a particular brand of wrestling. There's a guy that I used to wrestle with called Ali Arish. Anyone from the Manchester area into MMA probably have heard of him. He should have hit on a bigger scale, but he was such a boring fighter. Like, I know promoters was paying him to like, can we take this into the second round a little bit? And he would stand in the middle of the ring on a cage and he would just wait until he got close enough, ankle pick you and call it a night. Like, it was boring.
Yeah.
And he was effective at like 3 or 4 different weight classes. And especially when you're talking like quite low level local MMA, you got people who maybe done a bit of boxing, a bit of kickboxing, and they've done 3 classes of jiu-jitsu. He's fucking mauling them, right? And it's not even fun. So he couldn't get good fights because promoters were like, I'm not putting him as a fucking main event. He's boring.
Yeah, it's
they want fighters like Brendan or fucking
McGregor.
Yeah, people who are going to fucking punch you in the face and put your lights out. So he really suffered as a fighter because of his style, whereas I imagine the American audience, because it's a bit more culturally accepted with wrestling, I think they're going to be happier to see wrestling. And also, I think American freestyle wrestling's actually quite offensive.
Yeah.
And it's quite aggressive. Whereas the Dagestani sort of suffocating
Pin
style...
you against the cage, like shoulder in your face, just like up round you forever.
It's very suffocating and python-like and quite... honestly, it's very effective, but it is fucking boring.
Yeah.
There's not... And that's fine to say. There's not a lot of action in it. They're going to fucking pin your legs, they're going to fucking hook both the legs, they're going to wrap both of them legs, so you can't even push up now. The only thing you can do, as both of your legs are just pinned... is just be trying to push up, and you need both your hands to push up, so now you're getting punched in the face.
Punched in the head.
Oh, it's just an absolute nightmare.
So what's Brendan's chances then?
I don't know anything about the guy he's fighting now. 17-0.
There's a lot of O's in the Dagestani fighting community.
Hell of a lot of O's, yeah. So 17-0. Brendan's like 21-3, and I think those 3, you can make a case that he was robbed definitely twice. And I can't remember how the third one went, but he was definitely robbed just completely. That was the wrong fucking decision. But obviously never been finished, couple of decisions. This is, for me, it's a bad matchup for him. They're a bad matchup for anybody. They're certainly a bad matchup for someone who wants to fucking trade and throw. The good thing Brendan's got is, this ain't nothing he's never seen before. You know, he's out there with Dominic Cruz, which still blows my mind. Like I said to you the other day, didn't I? He was out fucking hanging out with Jocko Willink's gym and I lost my shit. But doesn't even compute that he lives with Dominic Cruz.
Mad, isn't it?
And I'm like, fine with that.
One of the best, what is it, bantamweight?
Fucking of all time. He's literally a UFC Hall of Famer and the greatest analyst that's ever fucking lived, by the way. And that I'm blasé about, but he just, the fact he was at fucking Jocko Willink's gym, I lost my shit. I was like, oh, what's he like? What does he smell good? I think he's got the best chance of anyone that isn't Dagestani to be able to overcome this. Obviously, he's trained with Mokaev for years. He's been put in these situations because Mokaev puts anybody in these situations. He's fighting again soon as well, looking to expand his O as well. Mokaev is the same thing. Like, he went, 20, he's like 30 fights deep now, and they're all fucking O. Like, you can't beat him.
Yeah.
And even though Mokaev scares me, and he scares me because I care, right? Because he's a mate. I don't worry for Brendan. I think Brendan's going to go in there, he's going to bang, and he's going to fucking do what he's got to do. And if he loses, I know he doesn't care. Because he's like, so I'm fighting again in 3 months. It's not a problem.
That's my life.
Whereas, I don't know what Mokaev would be like after a defeat. Because I don't know if he's built a lot of his mentality about being undefeated. And I think Mokaev takes, even though Brendan takes a hell of a lot of risks in his fights, I think Mokaev's so blasé confident about it that he just, he's been in some sticky situations lately and I go, fucking hell, you come away with a win, but
be careful.
There was a moment there where I thought he was going to sleep. But I think Brendan's going to know how to deal with it. And like I said, 17-0. That fucking Dagestani wrestling style, I'd love to go and see what their local gyms look like.
It must have gone through the roof as well. Like, I'm sure it was busy anyway, but the fame and popularity of Khabib must have just put it on another scale in terms of like trying to get coaches from there out to around the world, trying to get classes of that sort of style, because it's very, very niche, really, isn't it? It's not the biggest area.
Yeah, so you've got, I mean, obviously it's very mountainous, like a bit of a country bumpkin area, kinda, really. Hard place. But they're into just this particular brand of wrestling, like folk style wrestling almost. But it's just worked out perfect. The sort of controlling nature of it.
It's almost like back in early UFC days when jiu-jitsu was just like, if you had a black belt in jiu-jitsu, you would just win.
You're probably going to win.
Just because it's like no one knows what to, it's like they put like elite college level wrestlers, elite jiu-jitsu practitioners in positions where they look like an amateur on the floor. And it's like incredible to see, isn't it? It's just mad. I've never seen anything like it. For
those who've never experienced any sort of wrestling or jiu-jitsu, those grappling arts are literally the superpowers. Do you like the kung fu shit that you'd hear people whispering about?
Yeah.
It's jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't know it, you're going to sleep. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
A little bit behind that, and mostly because of the athleticism involved in it, is freestyle, American-style wrestling, high school wrestling. It's insane. And for a period of time, wrestlers dominated the UFC. Dominated it. Like, every champion was a wrestler. And it was because of their ability to be able to dictate where the fight was taking place. Well, I'm explosive and I can fucking hold you down for 5 rounds. Guess what I'm going to fucking do? Chael Sonnen was holding down Anderson Silva, perhaps the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time, for 4 minutes of round 5 and the entire of the first 4 rounds. But Anderson managed to fucking get him in a choke. That was all she wrote. Jiu-jitsu.
Just enough of a venom.
But if he hadn't have got him, if the fight had gone 1 more minute, Chael Sonnen would have completely fucking dominated Anderson Silva and won the fight. So those two arts really changed the game in the UFC. And there was a period of time where the in and out movement of karate fighters, from Wonder Boy and Machida, like this was like that footwork, and to a certain extent Conor McGregor, because his footwork is very karate in its
Side
style.
on.
People couldn't close that sort of distance, and if you did have a great fucking shot for a double leg or even a single leg, they had the agility to just fucking keep out of the way. And now they've just completely nullified your shit. So now you've got to figure that out. Someone will eventually go, oh, this is how you beat them. Yeah. And it'll be, maybe it's fucking Taekwondo. Maybe it's fucking Aikido. I doubt it. Maybe it's like, I don't fucking know. Maybe it's like catch wrestling.
Maybe it's just everyone practicing flying knees all the time. I don't know what it'd be, but yeah, there's probably a counter to it, because there tends to be sort of just mechanics-wise, don't there? Everything's got a counter, but no one seems to know it yet.
But there is some more UFC this week, and it's interesting as well. TJ Dillashaw is back.
Is this his first fight back? Surely
I think it is, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
He's been on a boat pretending not to do drugs for the last 2 years, hasn't he?
January 2019, that was when he was popped. That was when he was last in action. He's facing off against Corey Sandhagen, 14-2. Sandhagen's riding a 2-fight win streak. In his previous bout in February, he knocked out Frankie Edgar in just 28 seconds with a flying knee, as we said. Before that, he put Marlon Moraes out in round 2. Dillashaw is back in the mixer. Obviously, he had some sensational fights just prior to that. Obviously, he had Cejudo, he had Cody Garbrandt. He also fought against fucking Lineker and Aston Sao.
Yeah, very good.
You never know how someone's going to come back after a layoff, though. And he's been 2.5 years on ice.
It was weird with him, wasn't it? Because he was like a sort of decent fighter forever, and then all of a sudden just beat everyone, and then got done for drugs.
And you're like, I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, and he just completely copied Dominic Cruz's style as well, didn't he? I loved that. It's just like, is this Dominic Cruz, but with blonde hair and more muscles?
Someone nailed it, and he said, Dominic Cruz is flowing. Dominic Cruz is the algorithm of fighting. TJ Dillashaw's running plays. So he's going like 1 step forward, 2 to the right, 2 to the back, 1 to the side. Where Dominic Cruz was true algorithm, changing with what you do, whereas TJ was running
more sort of computational. He's going for this thing,
plan
then this
one,
thing,
plan
then this
one,
thing, then
plan
this
one,
thing.
Plan 2,
Yeah.
plan 2, plan 3, plan 3.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it made...
Visually, it kind of works. When you're watching them, that kind of fits with what you think
Dom
you
Cruz,
see.
I think, looked way more unpredictable. Whereas, I mean, TJ was still hard to predict, but looked very good. But it'd be nice to see him back in the mixer.
Yeah. Done his time.
Done his time. Get back in the mix. Sandhagen's not the fucking warm-up fight you would have wanted, I don't think.
No. Straight in there.
That's you pissed Uncle Dana off for being away for 2 years. Deal with this fuckface, sort of.
And I don't know much about Sandhagen, but usually people called Corey are really good at wrestling. He's proper American. I've been doing a lot of wrestling my life type name, isn't it, Corey?
Yeah. So, tough guy. Also a knockout merchant.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. We also have the Olympics are now here.
Right.
Next week.
We've been talking about the Olympics for 3 weeks, Steve.
I know, but now it's nearly here, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the reason they're in the news now is a little bit of, well, it's all going a bit west, isn't it?
Now it's time for the actual physical problems of hosting a tournament in COVID.
Pandemic. Yeah, so what we've got now is 2 South African footballers have become the first to test positive. 6 athletes and 2 staff members from Team GB are self-isolating after being identified as close contact of an individual who tested positive after their arrival on the 16th of July. The Olympic Village, where athletes stay for the next few weeks, have got specially made beds, and the rumours suggest that they're designed to prevent competitors from having sex as the beds collapse under any strain. What the fuck?
Some big fat weightlifter gets in his bed and becomes a burrito and dies, suffocates to death.
Shot putter.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So your average 16-year-old gymnast from Romania.
Fine. Fit 3 of them in a bed for starters, so that's
somersaults onto a bed, bosh, not a fucking breath on the bed.
The quilt doesn't even lift up at the corners.
No. Polish shot putter.
6'8".
Yeah.
300 pounds.
Female.
What is she doing? Also, you can have sex standing up. You can have sex on the floor.
Yeah. Guess what?
They're gonna shag.
Yeah.
You're not gonna stop it. And for those who don't know,
in the wardrobe. Fucking hell.
Exactly. For those who don't know, the Olympic Village is notoriously the most sort of massive shag fest of all time.
It's
Every
like
4 years.
STD epicenter, innit?
Imagine getting 100,000, or no, not 100,000, 3,000 of the fittest, most sort of well-rounded human specimens that are all of sexual sort of peak age, between sort of 16 and 35. Put them in a place where they're not allowed to leave for a month. What's going to happen? They ship in 100,000 condoms at the start of the tournament, and then they come back asking for more about a week in. That is literally what happens. The biggest shag fest in the world.
Yeah.
Apparently the weightlifters, very dynamic lovers. So, but you're not going to do it. That's the thing though. If you're like a 5'2" gymnast, like you said, some bloke from England, you could get you and 2 mates in a bed and it won't collapse. Yeah. How are they going to?
That's it. One of the super heavyweight boxers, one of the fucking clean and snatch fellas, them
Clean
just
and
fucking
snatch, all right, tell you.
Them just fucking sitting on the bed's going to cause more of a fucking what's it called? The earthquake things.
Yeah, Richter scale
thing.
Also,
that's going to fuck off.
AntiSex Beds is the most early Catholic thing I've ever heard. You know, cornflakes were supposedly invented to stop people masturbating because you could hear it. They used to put them under the sheets, and if people church boys would masturbate, you'd hear it. That's what cornflakes were invented for. You'd have to Google that. I'm pretty sure that's true.
I'm not buying that.
Yeah.
Producer Will's just fell over his chair here.
I think that's true. So, the cornflakes were certainly invented as a masturbation sort of...
No, I think they were invented as cereal, you
lunatic.
weren't.
And the early milk was very off. But yeah, Google that. We'll check
fuck?
that. But you can't be doing that. You can't stop people having sex.
Let them bang! Let them bang! Let them bang!
Yeah, exactly. Come on, guys.
They've worked for 5 years for this!
Yeah, and they don't even get paid. The amateurs, even though half of these people are professional footballers.
These fucking golf lot.
Danny Alves pretending to be an amateur footballer, the most decorated footballer of all time. Anyway, let him shag. Get him tested, let him shag. Simple.
So, Irish gymnast Rhys McGlennon filmed himself bouncing around on his cardboard bed to disprove the rumours. So maybe or maybe not. It's a recycled cardboard bed and it's designed to be environmentally sound, apparently, rather than to discourage.
Well, they say that.
That's what they say.
They say that, but they made that to stop shagging. I'm looking forward to it. I just want to hear...
It's like a Land Bible article.
I just want to hear that side of the whole tournament. I don't even want to... Who cares what medals are won? Who got around the collapsing beds?
Show me the other medal table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Top of the list. Oh, here's Michael Phelps again. Good lad. 6'5", 24
What's he
gold
done?
medals.
He's come away with 28 gold medals again.
Yeah.
Oh, fair play.
Yeah. He's nicked them from everyone he's shagged. Brilliant. Can't wait for that.
I wonder if that's a thingy. No, I was going to come round, but you got bronze.
Yeah, that's not good.
You didn't even make the final.
Oh, in the heats, get out. Heats.
Winners only.
Yeah, winners only sex.
And all you're allowed to wear is your medal.
Yeah, that's it. You can wear it around your neck or around your waist. It's your choice. Very good.
So yeah, Olympics, gold medals, banging. Fuck off you cornflakes. I'm not having that in the slightest.
Right, we need to Google that.
Right, cheers for tuning in. Cheers, Joe.
Yep.
Cheers to Mo from Squawka. Go check out what they're all about. The link for that is in the description. And I don't know. Who do you think would win the Sex Olympics? Bye.
Just about passable as a question.